This is the 8th part video, titled, He Finds a Notebook of Experience and Can Experience Anything He Writes. Please do watch all the previous parts to enjoy this video. Jong-suk's grandma had fell unconscious. Because of her brain tumor, the blood pressure has been rising rapidly. In this serious situation, there was nothing they could do. Still, Jong-suk has just one hidden ability to use. The latest ability, which the Notebook of Experience gave him. The ability to give his body in possession of the Mad Doctor. He knew the Mad Doctor was the only doctor who can save his grandma. Jong-suk talks with the Mad Doctor in his consciousness. He tries to bargain and asks for his help. The Mad Doctor was really excited for it. Jong-suk knew it was dangerous, but he had no other option. He wrote Oriental medicine on the page and closed his eyes. The page illuminated and gets disintegrated into pieces. The doctor calls for Jong-suk, but Jong-suk replied with a single word. Thin needle. The doctors didn't understand. Jong-suk turned to them. His facial expressions were turned into a wild man. He told them to bring thin needle. Grandpa has never seen him like this. He told Dr. Park to give him a syringe needle. When he tried to give him the needle, Jong-suk was more furious. He ordered them to bring him the thinnest needle. Dr. Park didn't know what Jong-suk intended. Grandpa stopped him and gave him the thinner needle. The Mad Doctor saw his patient. His face had a devilish smile. He told them to turn her over. Grandpa was hesitant. He wanted to know what was Jong-suk going to do. Jong-suk simply said, "Cure her." Grandpa had no words. Doctor tried to stop him, but Grandpa asked to go along with it. He turned Grandma over to face her backside of her head. In his consciousness, Jong-suk was hesitant. He was not in control of his own body. Not anymore. He asked the Mad Doctor what was he doing. The Mad Doctor answered with same words. Jong-suk was reluctant. He asked, did he intend to save her? The Mad Doctor chuckled. He said he can at least try. Jong-suk was doubting his decision. He asked if the doctor has ever tried it before. But the Mad Doctor said he always wanted to try it, but he couldn't. Jong-suk was now seriously confused. He asked the probability of his success. The Mad Doctor replied, it is always either life or death. Saying this, he pierced the needle in her skull. Watching this, the Dr. Park was shivering. But Grandpa believed in Jong-suk. He added, he believes that only Jong-suk can do it. No one could cure her. Dr. Park had no words. He knew there was no turning back. As the needle pierced deeper, the liquid flowed from its syringe tube to the container. The doctors were shocked to see it. It was cerebrospinal fluid. It was the fluid between the brain and spinal cord. Inserting a needle from back of the brain to that location was an incredible feat. Dr. Park was just amazed. The blood pressure from the brain was lowered considerably. Jong-suk was relieved. It was a success. The skills of Mad Doctor were truly remarkable. However, his needle didn't stop. The Mad Doctor was not finished yet. He kept on digging into her brain. Jong-suk told him to stop this. He was only here to lower the blood pressure. The Mad Doctor still kept doing his job. He said, if you have a patient and you can cure it, then you have to do it. But Jong-suk knew he had failed multiple brain surgeries. He had never tried to cure brain tumor. He might fail this time too. The Mad Doctor was not a bit moved by it. He said, unsuccessful treatment is also helpful in medicine. Just like that, the needle was now close to the black part of her brain. It was the tumor. Jong-suk realized the Mad Doctor wanted to cure her tumor. It was an impossible task. Jong-suk knew the needle was too small to suck all the mid-solid tumor. It would be insane to suck it out. But the Mad Doctor was already insane. He thrusted the needle inside the tumor. As the needle went inside, it quickly started to disintegrate the tumor. Piercing the brain with thin needle was already impossible. But the blades of needles were spinning and cutting the tumor in small particles, almost at nanoscale level. It was turning it into liquid form. It was now insanely impossible to believe. The operation center was tense. The doctors were looking over Jong-suk. They had no idea what he was doing. He had not moved or spoken since he started doing his work. Dr. Park and Grandpa were unable to stop him. Just when they were watching him, a black fluid splashed through the syringe tube. Both the doctors were shocked. They didn't know what it was. Cutting through the tumor, the Mad Doctor was sucking out the tumor in fine liquid form. It was fantastic. It was being cut with extreme care and without affecting the brain. The tumor was dissolving with a slow pace. Still, Jong-suk was really happy for it. Grandma was being cured. He was finally going to save her. It didn't matter how long it would take. It was now evening. Dr. Kang, Nurse Ji-han, and Dr. Park were too tired and sleeping. Grandpa comes out of the operation center. He seemed tired too. A man comes rushing. It was Hyo-yeol. He asked if his mother is okay. He looks inside. They saw Jong-suk standing beside Grandma. He asked what was Jong-suk doing. Grandpa tells him to leave him alone. He was currently sucking out the brain tumor. Hyo-yeol didn't believe it. He didn't know how this was possible. But Grandpa didn't want to entertain him any further. It was simply the truth. Hyo-yeol asked how long was he doing it. 18 hours. Nurse Jihan spoke. She continued and said, it has been 18 hours continuously. He had not made any movement or spoken. He is holding on to save her life. She added, he can do it. She believes in him. Jong-suk didn't know how much time had passed. He was sucking out the brain tumor little by little. He was only concentrating on a single point. At last, it was the last drop. Grandma will no longer be a tumor patient. Suddenly, he felt a little cold. The mad doctor grinned and said, good work, kid. He pulls out the needle. Everyone saw it. However, Jong-suk was stumbling. Blood falls down from his mouth. A sudden shock covered the entire operation center. Jong-suk falls on his back. After a while, Hyo-yeol was asking many questions. He asked, how did they know that the black liquid was really the tumor? Grandpa replied, they gave a sample of it to the patrol boat for biopsy. They said it was finely cut tumor. They even said it was cut into micro units. Hyo-yeol was surprised to hear micro units. Grandpa added, it's hard to believe, but it is also the truth. Hyo-yeol was silent. He said he wanted to take his mother to Seoul Hospital. Suddenly, Jong-suk interferes. He said they don't have to take her. He has removed all the tumor. He coughed vigorously. The doctors were concerned. But Jong-suk said he had got some internal injuries. He will be fine after a bit of a rest. Grandpa was hesitant to ask him anything anymore. Jong-suk was coughing blood. Jong-suk said he wanted to see his grandma. He checks on her hand. Her vitality had improved. Her tumor was absent. But, he said, there still may be remains of it. He wants them to move her to the land and keep her in tight monitoring. Hyo-yeol agrees. He also asked, how did he do it? How did he save his mother? Jong-suk was not sure how should he tell the truth. He said he can write a book about it so they can read it later. He just explained all the process briefly. After listening to it, Grandpa thought he knew Jong-suk very well. But what he has shown today was nothing short of a miracle. It's hard to believe, but so does miracles. After a few days, they had taken Grandma to Jeju Hospital. The doctor shows the pictures of her brain from 3 months before and the latest. The tumor had disappeared. Hearing this, they all were half surprised. The doctor added, the tumor had disappeared completely. It's like it was never even there in the first place. Hearing that, all of a sudden, everyone was happy. They were crying with joy. Grandpa was hugging Grandma with so much relief. With so much happiness around, Jong-suk was at peace. His grandma can now live a longer life. Time went by. Jong-suk left the hospital ship and completed his Oriental medicine license exams. He chose the acupuncture department and become a licensed doctor. He works at his grandpa's clinic. Now, he doesn't need to ask for anyone's permission to use his medical skills. In the hospital, a man brings his friend and asks for the doctor. His friend was in deep pain and was holding onto his shoulder. A nurse guides them to the operating section. Jong-suk came to see him. He grabs the patient's shoulder. A wave of pain courses through his shoulder. The two men were furious at him. By their smell, Jong-suk knew they were drunk. He told him his shoulder is dislocated. It will hurt a little bit. The man didn't understand what he meant. Jong-suk grabs his hand and counts to 3. On count 3, one loud scream echoed in the hospital. The man was on his knees. His shoulder was fixed. Jong-suk asked if he is still in pain. The man thinks for a while and says angrily, "It still hurts, you bastard." Jong-suk was not impressed by his manners. However, he says he can get further treatment with acupuncture. Hearing the word acupuncture, the young man asked, what kind of hospital was this? Jong-suk replies calmly, Oriental medicine. The man was now angry at his friend who brought him to the hospital. He was leaving for another hospital. The nurse tells him to get acupuncture treatment, but the man refused and gets going. Again, nurse stops them and asks them to fill the discharge form and pay for the treatment fees. The man throws his money on her face. She stumbled, but Jong-suk grabs her and also the flying money. The man refused to fill any form and leaves the hospital. Looking at the money, the nurse said they were much more than the required fee. Jong-suk says he will return it to them. When he goes outside of the hospital, the man was already driving away in his car and throws a cigarette at him. As he leaves, Jong-suk picks up the cigarette and smells it. He makes a call to the police. He reports them about the drunk driver who just left his hospital and also about his drugs. The officer asked how he knew about it. Jong-suk replied he is an Oriental doctor. The police said they will take care of it. The next day, the nurse came running to Jong-suk, but the man has returned. He was with a lawyer and a bodyguard. He grabs on Jong-suk. Jong-suk pulls out his phone and makes a call. The man said what was he doing? Jong-suk said he is just reporting him. The man ordered his bodyguard to attack Jong-suk. Jong-suk knew what was going to happen. He checks the location of CCTV cameras. As the bodyguard charged, Jong-suk lured him under the CCTV area. The bodyguard gave him a punch. The punch didn't even land on Jong-suk, but his acting skills came handy. He was ready to give him a payback. But a mighty kick lands on the bodyguard, sending him away from Jong-suk. It was his teacher. Jong-suk was surprised. The man was still furious. His lawyer advised him to stop, but the man slapped him instead. The lawyer just remained silent. The man leaves saying he will remember their faces. But Jong-suk was not finished yet. He grabs onto the man. He said they need to go to the police for doing drugs in Korea. He was not going to let them get away. The man grinned at him with amusement. The lawyer interrupts them. He said there is a misunderstanding. His client was not drunk and driving or doing drugs. It was some other driver. That person is already being investigated by the police. Jong-suk realized he should have taken the fingerprints of the cigarette. They have used their money to twist the law. He was furious. He couldn't do anything. The lawyer says they will meet again and gets to leave. Jong-suk asked for their business card, just to know whose son his enemy was. He takes the card and teases to the young man. He says he must be a spoiled brat of his rich-ass daddy. The man tensed and attacked Jong-suk, but Jong-suk only needed his thumb to rest on the man's stomach. They were stopped immediately by his teacher and the bodyguard. The man was cursing words and threatening Jong-suk. He said he will kill him with his own hands. Jong-suk was amused. He knew his job was finished. After a while, the teacher told Jong-suk to be careful about that young man. He also asked why didn't he fight back to the bodyguard. He was better in martial arts. Jong-suk replied, whenever you fight, make sure to watch out for CCTV. Make sure to be beaten before doing self-defense. His teacher takes a look at the business card. It was from Dadoc Construction. Hearing the name, Jong-suk knew it was familiar. His enemy is going to be messed up soon. Also, he had already left his mark on that young man. He will be swimming in shit pool for days to come. There will be no way to stop it. Jong-suk makes a call to his elder friend, Lawyer Hong. He asks about Dadoc Construction and tells him to look into it. The lawyer asks for the reason. Jong-suk replied he was overwhelmed and he is uncomfortable with them. Lawyer Hong knew what must have happened. He said they have a system of their own. Whenever any case gets filed against them, their management gets a notification. They simply change the people related to it. They must have changed the number plate on the car and put a different person on the driver's seat. The problem is, it usually ends up bad for the people who gets involved with them. He asked to reconsider his decision. Jong-suk says they have not made any movement yet. The lawyer says if he can wait, he can get his friend to settle this problem. Jong-suk agreed. In the car, the man was still cursing at Jong-suk. The lawyer says if he doesn't take any action, his father, the chairman, would. The young man was glad. He asked if they will bury him. The lawyer replied they can make him quit his job as an oriental doctor. After learning for 6 years and not having a job will make him go crazy. The man interrupts, saying he will have to live like a beggar. He asked what in addition to that. The lawyer says Jong-suk's family runs a small restaurant. They will send food safety department and make them close it. The man was not happy with it. He said again, what in addition to that? The lawyer added, they will make sure to destroy his public image. The man added again, is there anything else? The lawyer was now nervous. He added, he will ask some people to do some work. With that, the young man clenched his fist and said, since Jong-suk is oriental doctor, make sure to take care of his hands. The lawyer suddenly put his hand on his mouth. They both grabbed their nose. They were disgusted by the air they were smelling. The lawyer said they were not in rural area for the air to be bad. Suddenly, the young man looked to his back. His eyes widened. He had pooped in his pants. He didn't even know how that happened. The car rushed to its destination. At home, Jong-suk was on a call with his father. His father said the food sanitation officer called him. They were going to investigate their restaurant. So, the restaurant will be closed for a few days. Jong-suk was not happy with it. His father added, his investigation revealed that the person behind it is the chairman of Dadoc Construction, who is Chinese and also a former gangster. Jong-suk puts down his phone, his mind full of rage. He said if violence is what he wants, he will give it to them. After a while, Jong-suk was near their restaurant, wearing a hoodie. He knew he was being watched. On the other side, at the Seoul National University Hospital, a patient was crying and shitting on his bed. Shifting on his bed. The chairman asked what were the results. The lawyer replied, the results said there is nothing wrong with his body. And that very moment, the young man loses his controls again. The chairman was furious. He ordered his lawyer to bring that guy who did this to his son. Jong-suk was walking patiently. He was looking for CCTV cameras. He found a good spot. Looking back, he saw some goons with baseball bats. They were ready for some hard work. One man charged and smashed his bat on Jong-suk. He didn't even felt any resistance. It didn't even land. Jong-suk smiled. It was all thanks to his acting. He punched to his chin, sending the young man flying. All the rest of the goons charged on Jong-suk. Little did they know who they were messing with. Dodging every attack, Jong-suk broke their bones and facial structures. He didn't need to hold back now. After a little while, every one of the goons were facing the floor. Jong-suk takes the camera and sees the footage. As he had thought, they were watching him from the start. It was enough for the evidence. Just at the moment, a phone rang. He picks up the phone. The caller asked, "Is it done?" Jong-suk replied, "It's done, and he has killed the boy." The caller said, "The chairman wants to see his body and told him to bring it over." Jong-suk asked, "Where should he bring it?" The caller realized. He asked, "Who was talking?" Jong-suk gave his identity. He said, "If chairman wants to see him, let him meet him too." The caller asked if he is coming. Jong-suk said he will if they tell him the location. In an under-construction building, many people with black suits were gathered. Every one of them a gangster. Jong-suk appears before them. All of them started moving towards him. Suddenly, the lawyer stops them. He says the chairman is waiting for him. The chairman came. Looking at Jong-suk, he was surprised. He said he didn't expect to see him come alone. Jong-suk smiled and said, should he have brought his parents along? The chairman shrugged and said he just didn't expect it from an oriental doctor. Jong-suk replied it didn't really matter. The chairman added he haven't reported about them to the police and asked for the reason. Jong-suk replied he was grateful for him. The chairman didn't understand it. Jong-suk continued, he said it would have been annoying if he had messed with his family with money and power. But now he had attacked him personally. That made it a lot easier for him. The chairman was impressed and laughed. He takes out a jade bottle and takes a pill. Looking at it, Jong-suk remembered something. The chairman asked his last question to Jong-suk. Is he ready to visit the underworld? The goons started moving towards him. But Jong-suk told him to wait. He was making a call. The chairman says if he is planning to report to the police, it was already too late. Jong-suk was just talking on his phone. He asked his brother on the call if he know Grandpa Wang Dadoc. The chairman didn't know who he was talking to. Jong-suk asked the chairman to take the call. His big brother just want to talk to him. The chairman takes the call. As he takes the call, the person on the other end calls him Wang Di. He gave his identity. He was Jin Yong-woo. The chairman was shocked. It was the CEO of Daesun Company. Mr. Jin added, Jong-suk and him are like brothers. The chairman didn't understand. He asked, how did they know each other? Mr. Jin said, they are pretty close. Jong-suk saved him from his death on a plane. Hearing this, chairman's face was paled. Looking at him, Jong-suk knew he did the right move. He guesses the chairman is somewhat inferior to his senior brother. Mr. Jin added, he is glad that Wang Dae knows his brother. He is going to visit him soon and celebrate his graduation with him. The chairman was in shambles. He knew Mr. Jin Yong-woo was a busy man. He hadn't seen him for 3 years himself. And that busy man was telling him that he will come to Korea just for a graduation party. Jin Yong-woo asked him about his health. The chairman said it was good because of the pills he gave him. That's when CEO Jin replied, Jong-suk is the creator of those pills. If he had known Jong-suk before, he would have gotten it from him. The chairman had no words. Yong-woo asked him to give the phone to Jong-suk. They talked about their next visit. Putting the phone down, Jong-suk asked, should they start? Chairman was not sure. He said he will let him off for now. He knew he shouldn't mess with Jin Yong-woo. If he wanted, Yong-woo can make his company disappear forever. But Jong-suk was not finished yet. He asked if they want to kill him. The chairman was taken aback. Jong-suk told him that they don't have to be concerned about his big brother Yong-woo. The chairman replied silently. He said he is considering giving Yong-woo some face. But Jong-suk said he doesn't have to worry about that. The chairman flinched. Jong-suk walked towards a van and said he doesn't want to use his brother's name for himself. At the same time, a gust of magical wind flowed through his hands, lifting the van in the air. The van was levitating. Everyone watching was stunned, shocked and scared of what they were witnessing. Jong-suk added, he will just take the things in his own hand. He waves his hands, sending the van flying over another car and crashing it. The goons were scared. The chairman was sweating heavily. He asked, what is he trying to do? Jong-suk just stood there, motionless. He said, either you die or I die. Shall they get started? Watching him, all the goons were scared and chattering. The chairman didn't understand what was happening. The lawyer knew they were in trouble. But no matter the situation, he has to favor his chairman. The chairman was growing pale and sweating heavily. Suddenly the lawyer spoke and asked Jong-suk what does he want. Jong-suk replied he just wants a sincere apology. He added, people who sinned must be punished. whether they are rich or poor. The lawyer asked, does he want them to go to prison? Jong-suk replied, driving drunk and doing drugs is against the law. The lawyer was hesitant. He saw chairman's face. He thinks the chairman didn't want to mess with him, or he has to face Jin Yong-woo. He said, chairman's son is not feeling well. He can't go to prison just yet. Jong-suk quickly said he will cure him. Hearing that, the lawyer realized Jong-suk is the cause of his disease. Jong-suk said he will see him tomorrow and he expects an apology by that time. He leaves the place. A sound of slap resounds in the area. The chairman was furious at his lawyer. He didn't expect it to go that way. He tells him to do something about it. The lawyer says he will prepare for it. The next day, at the Seoul hospital, the nurse takes blood samples from chairman's son. Dr. Wong calls lawyer Hong and tells him that he has sent the blood and test results to the prosecutor. Lawyer Hong replied he will handle the matter forward. After a few days, in the Dadoc construction office, the lawyer comes rushing to the chairman. He said the Gangwon-do Barracks construction project has been suspended. The chairman's eyes widened. It was $20 billion project approved by the government. The lawyer says it was suspended by the Ministry of Defense. The second-in-command of Army has put off their contract. The chairman didn't know what had happened. Another person rushes in the office. He said the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has also suspended their constructions in Dubai. Two more people came into the office. They said the safety inspection is issued at their construction sites in Busan. They added all the construction sites will be temporarily stopped until they pass the inspection. They have also got a call from the bank that their loan could not be extended any further. The chairman was furious. He didn't know why the bank refused to extend the loan. They didn't even ask for it. The employee replied, the bank manager himself said that he will not extend their any loan. Hearing this, the chairman was silent. He hurriedly called the bank manager and asked for the reason. The bank manager told him to apologize. The chairman didn't understand. The bank manager said, apologize to Cho Jae-soo. The chairman didn't even know who was Cho Jae-soo. At Master Kim's restaurant, all the elders were gathered. Cho Jae-soo was principal's name. The principal said his bank manager friend has a personality that can't stand injustice. The elders were asking Jong-suk about his time as a doctor. Jong-suk was happy with it. Jong-suk also apologized for the inconvenience he brought to them. But the elders said he is welcome anytime. One person added if something bad had happened to him and he didn't told them, they would have felt bad, especially when that someone is like Dadoc Construction. The other elder said the blood test results were helpful in the investigation. Also, the Dadoc Construction even tried to bribe the defense minister. The case was proceeding poorly, but steadily. Companies like them are parasites to the nations. They should be punished. One elder asked Jong-suk if he is going to America. Jong-suk said he is appointed as a healthcare provider. He is trying to get an American Oriental doctor's license. His principal asked if he needs to get higher education. Jong-suk replied he only needs to take the Oriental medicine license exam again in America. It has been months. Jong-suk was coming back from his work. He was tired with his daily work. He was waiting for his train on the platform. In the train, he was thinking about the past events. Some time has passed after the Dadoc construction incident. Both Wang Dadoc and his son are going to be punished by the law. Just at the thought, suddenly they heard a loud noise. At the same time, the train was turning. The pressure was increasing on his body. Suddenly, people were being pushed to one side. Jong-suk tried to get a hold but failed. He pushed ahead and grabs onto the hanging holder. Several people were on him. He couldn't hold onto their weight. His grip was losing. Suddenly, his thoughts were consumed. His only thoughts were Mom, Dad, and Sumi. The train was collapsed on one side, losing its track. It was a terrible accident. Jong-suk is in the middle of a serious accident. Will he survive? Will he save the people? Who was behind this accident? How did this happen? Let's find out in the next part. The link will be updated soon in the description. Join the fun. If you are someone who loves reading manhwa and animes, subscribe now and join us in our journey. Also, get notified for new manhwa updates and hidden gems. Thank you for watching this video and see you again.